At the end of our family launch, my sister said, "Just don't come next week, okay? It'll ruin the vibe." My mom turned her face away. My dad didn't disagree. I smiled that night. I canceled the group tour, froze the joint travel card, and removed my name from the trip insurance. A check-in, there were denied entry. My dad. All 3 times, then a message from my brother. "We can't board." "What did you do?" I texted back. She actually said it. I didn't say anything right away. I just sat there holding my fork, thinking how surreal real it all was, like I slipped into a parallel universe where my younger sister was in charge of family decisions, and I was some distant cousin who got a pity invite. The table went quiet, but not the kind of quiet where someone's about to speak up and fix it. It was the kind where everyone silently agrees to let the moment die. My mom looked at her plate like it was suddenly fascinating. My dad didn't even flinch, not a word, not even a "come on, Claire." I don't know why I looked to him for anything. I don't remember the last time he stood up for me. I smiled, not because I was fine, but because I refused to give them the satisfaction. If I looked angry, I'd be overreacting. If I defended myself, I'd be dramatic. Smiling was neutral. It let them think I didn't care. The truth, I cared more than I should have, because this wasn't just about the trip. It never is. It was years of being treated like the fallback plan, the babysitter, the bank, the guy who gets the couch because the kids need the guest rooms, the one who doesn't understand real responsibility because he doesn't have a mortgage or family, so he can pay more. Right? You can cover things. He can be flexible. I went home that night and opened my laptop. The first thing I did was cancel the group tour, the one I researched, negotiated, and paid for. Gone. Then the cooking class, the vineyard date, the charter boat, all tied to my account, all requiring my authorization. Without me, bookings disappeared. Then I froze the joy. Oh, travel court, the same card I opened, so they wouldn't rack up fees on their own. The one Clear used to book her upgraded flights, and Eric used for the villa deposit, useless now. And because I knew exactly how this would play out, I went one step further. I removed myself from the travel insurance policy and flagged the airline tickets under my name. For fraud review, you can't check in online. When the cardholder reports on authorized use, I made sure that the silence was beautiful until check-in day. I was at home watching TV while my phone buzzed. First call from Dad, ignored. Second call from Dad, declined. Third call, voicemail this time, but I didn't like. Isn't. Then came the text from Eric. "We can't board. What did you do?" I typed one line, "Enjoy the vibe." And then, without even closing the thread, I opened my banking app and canceled the automatic rent payment I'd been sending to his landlord, $700 a month for 2 years, because Eric's credit was garbage and I had more room in my budget. Not anymore. It hurt more than I expected it to, not just because of the money, but because I really believed for a long time that this family saw me, that they appreciated me. I think I needed to believe that, but that launch, that sentence, proved what I've been afraid to admit. I wasn't part of the family trip. I was the sponsor. Not anymore. They didn't call the next morning. I expected at least a furious group text, maybe a guilt-laced message from Mom, but nothing. Just silence, the kind that says, "We don't know how to deal with this." Yet I pictured them pacing through the airport lobby, Clear trying to speak to someone at the counter while Eric's kids went in the background. I imagined my dad standing back with his arms crossed, watching it unravel and probably thinking it was all unnecessary drama. I went about my day like I wasn't the cause of the implosion. Made coffee, cleaned up a bit, went to the gym. There was no one texting me last minute booking confirmations, no one asking if I could cover tips for the drive. There's no one asking if I had downloaded the travel insurance documents. The silence was strange, peaceful, a little addictive. Late that evening, a message from my mom popped up. "We're staying at a hotel near the airport. Clear upset. Eric's kids are exhausted. Can you please call me?" No apology, no acknowledgement of what actually happened. Just emotional leverage. I stared at it for a full minute before locking my phone and walking away. I wasn't going to be the fixer this time. The next day, they went somewhere else, not Europe, not the trip I planned. They ended up doing a cheap resort package. And Florida, 2 rooms, basic buffet, no excursions. They didn't post much. Just one photo of the kids by a hotel pool. No tags, no geolocation, no wish you were here. It looked like a funeral with palm trees. Then nothing for days of radio silence until Friday night. I was watching a movie when someone buzzed my apartment. No ads. Up, no message, just the intercom lighting up again. And again, I answered thinking it might be a delivery and heard Eric's voice open the doormat. I hesitated, then Buster Man. He walked in like he lived there, didn't sit down, just stood in the middle of the living room, arm stiff at his sides. You seriously messed everything up? No. Hello, no, how have you been? Just that he launched into it. Claire was furious. Dad was humiliated. The kids were confused. Mom was stressed. He said the whole thing had spiraled into a disaster because I chose to act like a child over one comment. I'll let him talk. Then I asked him how many troops had I paid for, how many hotel upgrades, how many dinners, how many fees had I quietly covered. Did anyone even notice when I booked the nicer van so the kids wouldn't be cramped in the back seat? He shifted, started going on about how that's just what families do, that money shouldn't be used to keep score. Then he said I embarrassed them, leaving them stranded at the airport like that. I asked him when the last time was that he paid his own read without my help. That shut him up. You're really throwing that in my face. I didn't reply. I just pulled up the payment log on my phone. 2 years, $700 a month. I asked if he ever planned on taking over, or if he assumed I just keep covering it. He said he thought I didn't mind that I never said anything exactly. Then I told him something I hadn't even fully admitted to myself. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even hurt. I was just done. I'm not the extra guy anymore. I said either treat me like a brother or don't. But I'm not your wallet. He looked like he wanted to argue. But didn't he left? I locked the door and blocked his number. That was the real break, the kind people don't come back from unless something truly changes. And I knew it had to start with me. I'd been pretending things were fine for too long, let them sit in the silence for once. I'd been drowning in it for years. Then a week passed, no calls, no texts. The group chat was dead now. No means from Claire, no rent requests from Eric's landlord. Just nothing. It felt like punishment and relief at the same time. And for once I didn't try to fix it, that I figured they were regrouping, trying to reframe things as me overreacting, maybe even blaming each other. I could hear them in my head. He's always been sensitive. You know how he gets, let them talk. I wasn't explaining myself again. Then Sunday morning, I got a text from my dad, just let's talk, just you and me, that I almost ignored it. But the way you said it caught me. No pressure, just an invitation, Dennis. Oh, I replied. If you want to talk, come here. He showed up an hour later. No warning, no delay, just not like he used to, even though he hadn't been over any year. He looked how he always did when he was trying clean sneakers, tuck polo, the watch I gave him 2 Christmases ago that he never wore until now that he came and stood for a second, then sat across from me at the kitchen table. No small talk, no mom, no coffee. That mattered. I didn't realize it had gone that far. He said that I stay quiet. He told me he thought I liked being the one who organized it. It made me feel involved, like it was my role. Player cooked Eric complaint. I handled the rest. Then he said it. We stopped asking if you are okay with any of it. He told me things got tense after the airport. Everyone pointing fingers, no one wanting to own what had happened, but none of them could deny. I'd been holding a lot together for a long time. And then he apologized. Not in some big emotional way, just a simple steady, I'm sorry we put so much on you and acted like you owed it to us. He said seeing me cut off Eric's rent hit him. He hadn't even known I was still paying it, thought it had ended when I told him it hadn't. He paused and said, that's on me too. Then he handed me a folded piece of paper. It wasn't a letter. It was a rent receipt he had painted himself. I told them it's time he figured it out. And if he can't, it's not your job anymore. I stared at it longer than necessary, because in our family, that wasn't just a receipt that was changed. It was the first time my dad took on something I'd silently carried for years, not because I asked, but because he finally saw it. Before he left, he said he wasn't expecting forgiveness overnight, just wanted me to know someone heard me. He paused at the door and told me you were never just the one without a family, you're part of ours. And we're going to fix how we show it. I stood there with the receipt, and one hand feeling lighter than I had in years. The next day, player came unannounced. I almost didn't open the door, but curiosity why she handed me a bag from the deli I liked, even though she hated it. She admitted she said awful things because she was overwhelmed, and I'd been the easiest target. She called me the safe one, the one who always showed up paid and planned. Then she surprised me. She slid a check across the table for the last few trips, saying she was done for. Then none of it mattered, she added. She didn't want her kids to see me as the uncle who just paid for things, but his family they respected. Before leaving, she told me Dad made everyone sit down and go over everything I've done, even bringing receipts later that night. I texted the family group chat. We need to talk, all of us in my play. She'll listen. First replies came quickly. Eric, Mom, Claire, Dad all agreed. They arrived early, no excuses or delays, waiting outside like they knew this couldn't be put off. Inside, no one tried small talk. I told them directly, I'm not your backup plan or wallet, or I'm your brother, your son, your family, and I've been treated like an accessory. I listed the vacations, the rent, the flights, the silence. When I was excluded this time, no one defended themselves. Claire looked down. Mom was fighting tears. Dad stayed quiet. Then Eric spoke. First, you're right that I knew I should have said something. When Claire made that comment, he admitted he didn't think I'd actually pull out. That's the problem. I said you counted on me not pulling out. He nodded. Claire spoke next quietly. She said she knew she was wrong. For an apology later would make it right, like always. But when I canceled the trip, she realized how much I'd been carrying. We never asked what it was costing you. Then she handed me another check, $300. It's not everything, but we're changing how we do things. Been something I never expected. Eric stood up, opened his banking app, and showed me he paid his own rent. I'm handling it now. It's long overdue. Mom said I didn't realize how much we leaned on you until it all broke. I told myself it was because you had more, but we took more because we thought we could. Dad admitted he saw what Claire said that day and stayed quiet. We made you carry too much for too long. That's done now. I looked at them, all of them. No defensiveness. No spin. I said I wouldn't come on the next trip, not out of anger, but because I needed to see the change. Hope no one protested. That's fair, Eric said before they left. Dad promised next vacation we plan with you, not around you. And we split everything, no exceptions. When they left, I finally exhaled. For the first time, they'd seen the version of me that knew how to say no. And they listened. 3 quiet months passed. No frantic texts. No requests. I hiked, read, walked the city on my own time with my own peace. It felt strange at first, but then it felt like freedom. They went on a lake trip in June without me. Claire texted. Photo, no filters, no caption, just missed you. I believed her. Eric sent a screenshot. He paid rent and full from his own account, took a second job. You were right. Then Dad called. We want to plan a vacation. No assumptions equal shares. I didn't say yes. Just I'll think about it. And that was enough. Weeks later, I got an envelope with no return address inside, a handwritten card. You always made things special. We're trying to catch up. Taped inside was a gift card to my favorite bookstore one I'd mentioned in passing. It was from Claire. Then Mom texted dinner Sunday. Just us. I went. Same house, same table. But everything felt different. No one joked about money or schedules. Mom looked across the table and said, we're glad you're here. Before the night ended, Dad handed me a folder. Inside was a deed amendment. My name was added to the family cabin, the one I helped fix, but was never really invited to unless something broke. It's part years now. He said, not because you paid, because you carried us. I held that folder in the kitchen for a long time. It wasn't about the property. It was about being seen, not for what I gave, but for who I was now. When we planned trips, I'm included from the start. Costs are split, Claire asked.